Hello and welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. We are honored that you're here today as we answer this question. Will student loans take my tax refund in 2025? Let's take a look. But before we do that, just want to remind you to hit the subscribe button on the podcast so you're always up to date whenever we add some new content, and we do all the time. You can also check us out on really any social media platform you're on. Just search for The College Investor and you'll find us. You can ask questions, get to know us. We'd love to get to know you and help you along in your journey. You can also find thecollegeinvestor.com. You can dive deeper on any topic we talk about in the podcast. All right, let's get to it. So, will student loans take my refund in 2025? All right, now that COVID-19 student loan repayment pause is over, business is back to normal. This includes the collecting on past due debts. Yikes. So for some people, making payments is still a struggle. According to data from the Department of Education, there are around 7 million borrowers who have defaulted on their student loans. Those who are in default could risk having their tax refund seized coming tax time. Darn it. You might be planning on getting a refund in 2025, but if you're in default on your federal student loans, your refund could actually be at risk. Here's what you need to know about how tax refund garnishments actually work and how to stay out of default to avoid losing your refund. Will student loans take your refund? Let's take a look. During COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and all the stuff we did, the government froze student loan payments. You know this. It also paused collecting on past payments due from accounts that were in default. Now that student loans are back in repayment, your tax refund could actually be seized if you're behind on your loans. Your account is considered in default if you haven't made a payment on your federal student loans in 270 days. When that happens, the Department of Education can garnish your tax refund to offset missed payments. To help borrowers who are in default, the government created the Fresh Start program. The program is designed to help return borrowers to good standing, avoiding the risk of garnishment. So enrollment in this program ended, though, in October. If you miss the deadline and your loans are in default, you could face garnishments beginning in 2025 on both your federal and state tax refunds. Tax garnishments only apply to federal student loans, though. If you have private loans that are in default, your tax refund is not going to be seized, but your debt could still be sent to collections and your credit score is going to take a hit. All right, what is student loan refund tax garnishment anyway? What are we talking about here? A student loan tax garnishment is technically called a tax refund offset. That's a nice cushy word for it. Set of words, I should say. This can happen when you've defaulted on your student loans but are owed a tax refund. So instead of receiving your refund, they just take it. It's garnished to offset delinquent student loan payments. If you find yourself in a situation where your tax refund could get garnished, which means taken from you. They love to use fancy word. A garnish is stuff they put on plates to make it look pretty in a nice restaurant. They're taking it from you. That's what that means. Why do they got to say garnished? We're taking your payment. Just say it. This is what it is. If you find yourself in a situation where your tax refund could get taken from you, you should receive a notice in the mail from the Treasury Offset Programs Bureau of the Fiscal Service. Oh my goodness. Rather than the IRS. That's important to know, though. It's not coming from the IRS, so it's not a scam if you get something from the Treasury Offset Programs Bureau of the Fiscal Service. This notice should come 65 days before your refund is going to be seized. The notice will have information about how to contest the seizement, garnishment, if you think there's an error. Borrowers can contest a tax refund offset for a number of reasons, including these things. You could fraud and identity theft, bankruptcy, a disability discharge, or the debt has already been paid. Sometimes the government messes up. Go figure. If you do try to contest, you're going to probably have to provide payment records or some court documents to contest an offset. Garnishment isn't limited to the current tax year. If a tax offset is initiated, future refunds could also be seized. So depending on your situation, you might qualify for a student loan offset hardship refund. Acute instances of economic hardship include using your refund to cover rent, to avoid eviction, or using your refund to avoid utilities from being disconnected. Those are extreme conditions. Borrowers that qualify for an economic hardship might be able to recover some or even all of their garnished tax refund. So, for example, if you demonstrate you have a $2,000 hardship and your refund is $5,000, you'll receive $2,000 to cover your hardship expenses while the remainder of your refund will be garnished. There's really no reason to get a $5,000 tax refund. You should probably go into your W-4 and fix what's going on there. That's too much to get back. Anyway, contact the Treasury Offset Program to obtain the appropriate forms to apply for a hardship refund. Okay. What to do to avoid defaulting on your student loans to begin with? The best way to prevent student loans from taking your tax refund is to avoid defaulting on them. You can enroll in an income-driven repayment plan, request deferment or forbearance to pause payments. You can consolidate your loans into one payment. You can either refinance your loans to the lower monthly rate or pay off your loans in full if possible. That $5,000 you're getting back in your tax refund can be a good place to start. Try to get your tax refund as close to zero as you can. That way you get all of the money that you're making in your job in your pocket, so you can avoid being in default. Make sense? All right, let's go. Borrowers who are already in default, though, and missed the Fresh Start deadline can enter into loan rehabilitation. Loan rehab. So rehabilitation allows borrowers to return to good standing after 9 on-time payments during a 10-month period. If you can make at least 5 of those payments, you can avoid a tax refund garnishment completely. Defaulting on your student loans can adversely affect your credit. It will. When a default is reported to the bureaus, it's going to follow you for years and affect your ability to buy a car or get a mortgage, unless you pay cash, like get a cheap car. Anyway, successful completion of a rehabilitation agreement can eliminate the default from your credit report, though. So what happens if I owe student loans but I'm not in default? Well, owing money on your student loans doesn't mean you're just automatically in default. The government considers you to be in default if you miss payments for 270 days or around 9 months. While defaulting on your student loans can initiate a tax refund offset, so can missing a child support payment, failing to pay your taxes, or defaulting on a small business administration loan. All of it can do that. Your tax refund will not be at risk if you're current on your student loan payments. So stay on top of your payments to avoid the risk of going into default and potentially losing that tax refund. If you're banking on your tax refund, you can actually just have all of that money in your pocket throughout the year. By fixing what actually gets withheld from your paycheck, you can eliminate all of this problem altogether. You don't get a huge tax refund, but that's all just free money you gave to the government anyway. It's yours. Just keep it throughout the year. That's my 2 cents. If you want more ideas on anything you heard today, you want to dive a little bit deeper, or you want to ask questions, you can follow us on social media. We're pretty much anywhere you are. Just search for The College Investor, and you'll find us. Thanks again for stopping by today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.